That is a really nice t-shirt, right? Hey, what's up guys, Alex here. Thank you for checking this video and welcome to this quick vlog update or whatever it's gonna be. I have no idea. I just want to share with you some updates from the past 2 weeks that I've been like pretty silent on a YouTube channel. I haven't uploaded any video, and I haven't done pretty much anything socially. I haven't shared much in any other social media. Well, I've been pretty damn busy in the past 2 weeks. I've been working a lot on my regular job. We're doing something really crazy with artificial intelligence, machine learning, all this kind of stuff. I'm learning a lot of new things, but I'm also doing some side projects as usual. So I decided to do a quick video just to explain to you what I'm working on, and I want to share with you also some thoughts on stuff that I kind of learned in the past 2 weeks, or stuff that I kind of knew for my entire life, but then I came to a realization in the past 2 weeks. So just like, let's get started. So first of all, I'm working a lot with my new laptop, the System 76. That is actually right here. You can see this is the Gazelle from System 76. Am I holding it right? Yes, correct. And it's a beautiful laptop. I'm working on the review. Actually, I'm planning to do the review on this thing, but I haven't done it yet because I'm actually using it. And this is the first thing that I want to share with you. This is the first time where I have a new machine and I'm not showcasing it, or I'm not just like taking picture of the machine and showing it around, or like saying, hey, this is my new fancy computer. No, I just like opened the machine and started working on it. It's kind of weird. I don't know if you have the same feeling, but the first time that you get a new computer, usually you cherish that computer like it was a new, like shiny things that you don't want to touch it, and you just want to show it around. Hey, it's my new fancy computer. You want to be like super careful to not destroy it, or at least that was for me. Every time I bought a new computer, that in my case was just a Mac, every time I bought a new Mac, I spent the first couple of weeks, 3 weeks, on just like carefully doing as less things as possible with that computer, just not touching it too much, not installing too many softwares, because I didn't want to risk to bloat it right off the bat, and I didn't want to damage it because I felt like it was kind of like easy to damage. A new computer, a new glass desktop is just so shiny. I don't want to leave my fingerprint on it. I don't want to put dirt on it or stuff like that. It's just like weird personal things that I know like no one shares, but that was my feeling. But I don't have the same feeling with the System 76 Gazelle. That computer felt immediately like my own computer. I didn't feel the need to wait a little bit to cherish it, or like to wait until I was feeling comfortable in using it every day. As soon as I opened it, I felt like, oh, this is a working machine. I can just start working on it. And that's what happens. That's why I haven't done any review, I haven't done any video recently, because I've been working on the new computer pretty much every day, many hours a day. I installed immediately all the software, all the packages, everything that I need to do my daily work. And I started also coding application for Linux. That's another thing I've been working on for the past 2 or 3 weeks. As you may know if you follow me on social media, or if you follow me even on this channel, I've been talking about coding my own UX design application for Linux, because I've been trying to switch to Linux for the past, I don't know, 2000 years, and I haven't been successful because of the lack of professional software. So I decided I'm gonna build the software that I'm missing right now. I started coding it on Mac and then on PC, and I started using Qt and QML, but I wasn't really satisfied. I was feeling like the learning curve was too steep and I didn't like it much. Then I discovered Elementary OS. Elementary OS, if you don't know that, it's a distribution that it's based on Ubuntu, and the guys, the developers that developed Elementary OS are rebuilding completely all the main components for a better desktop environment. I'm sure I'm saying things wrong, but that's how I felt it was like it. Basically, they're building everything. They're building the Pantheon desktop environment, their files navigation based on Nautilus, and then they have this little dock called Plank, I guess, but everything is built on Vala and GTK. And I never heard about Vala, and I never heard about it because it's at version 0.36, so it's not even a version 1. It's a really new kind of language, but it's really flexible, and it's really easy to understand. It's really easy to learn because it's kind of semantic. Like, you read it and what you write is what the application will do. It's not like convoluted and complicated. And Vala compiles. You can use GTK libraries in Vala and compiles easily in C. And building an application in C running on Linux is stupid fast. It's like incredibly fast because C is a language that it's a low-level language. That means that it's so close to the CPU that can tap the full potential of a computer. Instead, like web languages like JavaScript or stuff are like high-level languages because they're really far away from the CPU, so you don't have that type of speed and accessibility that you have with a low-level language. So I decided on the System76 machine to install Elementary OS, and I started learning Vala and GTK, and I started immediately doing, okay, I'm gonna build my UX design app. But then I hit a wall, or like I hit many walls, and a lot of bricks fell into my face, and it was really painful. But basically, like, I don't know anything about Vala. I've never coded in Vala, never coded in GTK, so I needed to learn. And learning a new language, especially for me right now that I've been coding for 15 years or something, I always thought it was like super easy, right? Like, especially I have a background in web development. So every time I have a new language to learn that is like, or a new framework like Vue.js, AngularJS, or I have to update my JavaScript knowledge to get the new ES6, ES7, ES8 convention, whatever, or knowing PHP, learning Laravel, like, I always felt super comfortable, like, oh yes, this is just a new thing that is slightly different from what I know, so I'm gonna be able to learn it. It's gonna be really easy. But it wasn't like that for Vala. Vala, it's a language, and especially also GTK, because I'm learning them all together. These two languages, or these two libraries, GTK, it's kind of a library, and Vala, it's the language. If I'm not wrong. Yes, I shouldn't be wrong. I don't know. But yeah, I'm learning these two things together, and the approach that I usually used to learn something new wasn't working at all. Basically, when on the web I need to learn something new, like for example Vue.js, like I did a couple of months ago, I used to just open an application or check an application on GitHub, like an open repository of an application or something built in Vue.js. I was just grabbing the code, trying to recreate the same functionalities of Vue.js, of that specific application on my local machine, tweaking something and just try and fail and try and succeeding, all these kind of stuff. So basically, hardly looking at documentation and checking code online and grabbing, copy-pasting, tweaking code, and then after a while, after I was feeling comfortable with the language, the next level would be to actually read the documentation, what I'm doing, and trying to recreate something completely new from scratch based on the knowledge that I acquired while like stealing code from other applications just to try to learn. But with Vala and GTK, that wasn't possible. I tried to do it, and it was too complicated. Vala is an object-oriented programming language. It's really strict, has a lot of strict rules. If you don't respect the rules, if you don't respect the type hint, if you don't respect all the proper declaration, and the declaration are completely different from the web development type of scripting, like even PHP object-oriented programming is completely different. If you don't respect 100% in a super strict way the documentation of Vala, of like the architecture, the structure of Vala, your code simply won't work. And especially because you have to compile that code before running it. So it's not like PHP that you just write the code you open your server, you open your web page, and probably like your code works, but then you have a little thing that it's buggy, and if you don't touch it, you don't even realize that the thing is buggy because you're not using it. You're using the rest of the application, not that small section, and you don't even realize that you wrote something wrong. With Vala, you cannot do that because you have to compile the entire application. While compiling from Vala to C, your compiler will throw an error like, hey, this is wrong, you shouldn't write this, or throw a lot of warnings. So I spent, I'd say, the first week feeling really frustrated, like learning a new language completely new from me, with an approach completely different from what I was used to, was really frustrating, was really hard. And that's the moment where I came to a realization that learning something new, especially coding, it's frustrating as fuck. It's frustrating as hell. It's just something that I forgot. Like, I feel right now, or at least like up until a week ago, I was feeling the same as I was feeling when I was 17, when I started trying to learn PHP for the first time. Total, complete frustration. I was completely lost, I didn't know what to do, and it was just like checking something online, reading stuff, or just reading a book, and all these examples with super complicated code that for me was totally not readable. I felt exactly the same up until a week ago. And that's my advice for you, that I would like to give you, even as it's really pretentious, like giving you an advice on how to learn how to code. Everyone should feel comfortable in learning how to code. Everyone should understand its own path, its own workflow, its own process. But one thing that I realize is that frustration is part of the job. Frustration is part of the process. If you don't feel frustrated, you won't feel engaged enough. If something doesn't frustrate you, it means that you don't care about that thing. So feeling frustrated, it's okay, it's good, it's fine. Like, I used to like put myself down a lot. Like, I feel frustrated, I don't understand how this works, I don't know what to do, this is stupid, I'm not gonna do it. No, that's like the last part, it's wrong. The initial part, the frustration, it's good, because the frustration will push you to say, this is stupid, why I cannot learn this? Like, no, I have to. This, like, I can do this. I can definitely do this. Use the frustration to push yourself and learn more. And the other thing is that I realized that copy-pasting code from something that it's already made and built and it works, it's not a good approach. Probably was working before, or probably works for a web application. A web application built in PHP and JavaScript, you can literally patchwork your way through learning JavaScript or learning PHP. You can copy-paste something from a piece of software, from Stack Overflow, from whatever other website, just paste it in your application and it will work, it will run, because that's how web coding languages, web languages work. They're pretty much open, they're pretty much flexible to accept everything, but that's not the way you should learn. And I learned it the hard way, like feeling really frustrated. But that's not the way you should learn. You should actually follow the documentation. Read the super boring documentation. Follow step by step. Don't skip the step. Don't try to, okay, I want to code something new in PHP. Okay, I want to build a forum. How do I build a forum? Don't go to Google and don't type how to build a forum in PHP, because you're gonna get the code. That's how you build a forum. Copy paste, done. You have a forum, it's done. But you haven't learned anything. You haven't learned the why. Why did you write these things in that way? Why did you use that code and not the other one? That's the main mistake that I was doing, like trying to copy and paste stuff without understanding why it's like this. So I pushed the brake and I said, okay, it's gonna be boring, it's gonna be frustrating, I'm gonna reread the same things probably 20 times because I'm stupid, but I need to start from the official documentation. So I opened the official documentation, I started reading it, and there were some code example, really small demo, like the usual hello world, or open a modal and click a button and a pop-up things appears. That's it, like super stupid examples that I always hated it, because those are not real life things that I will ever use in my coding career. But actually those are really important to understand the basic structure, why you have to do this, where you have to put things, how you have to write your code, otherwise it won't work. So I forced myself to read the documentation and learn step by step. And right now I have almost finished Linux application, a native Vala GTK Linux application, and it's amazing. I decided to not start building immediately the UX design app because that's really complicated, like after investigating a lot. To learn the language and experiment with stuff, I decided to code a small SQL client, like a local SQL client, to connect to a remote or local database and inject or like write SQL and having a visual response of all the data. Something like SQL Pro on Mac, or something like, I don't know, a local version of PHP admin or some PHP my admin or something like that. But yeah, probably not that awful to look at. But yeah, I'm using this test application to learn all the basic stuff of Vala and GTK application. And after 2 weeks of total frustration and total depression, I feel like I'm learning that code. Like now I can literally code something, a new section, without opening the documentation, because I know where to write stuff. And the compiler compiles without error, so that's fantastic, that's amazing. So that was, I think, the main topic of this little vlog, like sharing the frustration of learning something new and giving you the advice of not skipping steps. Don't skip steps, don't try to go for the quicker path, don't try to trick your learning process, because like, I know, it's kind of frustrating, it's kind of like boring, and it's gonna take you longer. But then if you just copy-paste stuff and you create your things with a patchwork of code written by someone else, then you will have, it will happen sooner or later, you will have a moment where you need to do something, and that something doesn't exist online. No one ever built something like that. And you're screwed. Now you have to code it by yourself. And if you don't know how to properly code it, you don't know the documentation, you don't know how to read the documentation, that's another thing that it's really hard. You need to learn how to read the documentation of a specific language, because documentations, the wiki pages, are not written by the same person. Every documentation is different. Every documentation has different examples, a different approach, a different way of explaining things. And also that, like, you need to feel comfortable with that documentation of that specific language that you're learning. Otherwise, searching for things or searching for an explanation on a specific function, a specific method, a specific class, is gonna be just a nightmare. So that's what I did. Like, my life was a nightmare for a couple of weeks. That's also why I haven't been uploading anything recently, because I have been studying a lot. On a side note, I also published an update to my A model NPM package, that it's a little like JavaScript model, ES6 model, not based on any framework, not based on Angular, jQuery or nothing, just plain vanilla JavaScript, super light. Just check it out on my GitHub repository. I've been coding a lot AWPS, the starter theme for WordPress in object-oriented programming that I released on GitHub as well, and I pushed a lot of new stuff in the development branch. There's the master branch, and then there's the dev branch. If you want to test the new approach, check the dev branch, it's really cool. And I guess that's it. From next week I'm gonna start re-uploading videos again. I'm gonna keep pushing the plugin series. We just finished the introduction to the plugin series, the first 8 episodes. You probably noticed I derailed a little bit on object-oriented programming in PHP, but that was absolutely necessary. And after that, like, I'm gonna start just like coding one plugin after another. We'll see how to code super cool plugins, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. So I guess it's pretty much it for this video. If you're still here and you listen to me blabbling or complaining about how to learn how to code, thank you so much for still being here, if you're watching this. And if you're watching this face right now, I want you to leave a comment below and say, hey, I'm watching your face right now. Just leave a comment. Watching your face right now. Okay, sorry, that's it. Anyway, if you wanna support me, support my channel as usual, I have the Patreon where you can do a monthly donation if you wanna just try to steal me from my job and say, hey, why don't you do this full time so you can publish a video per day? That would be awesome. So many tutorials I could do if this was my full-time job, but it's not, so it's okay. Or you can support me by checking other methods in the support me page of my channel, or no, support me page of my website, not my channel. You're on my channel, I guess. But yeah, that's the thing. Anyway, I'm super tired. I will go back on working on the System 76, doing more tutorials. I will do a review on the System 76 computer, and I will also do a review of my personal settings of elementary OS, why I decided to pick that distribution, pick that Linux distro, and how I set it up to actually work and code, because I'm not playing on Linux. I'm not just installing Linux just to play Steam. I'm working, I'm coding stuff, I'm coding websites, I'm coding application, and it's amazing. I feel so free and it's so easy to manage. But anyway, thank you so much guys for checking this video, and I talk to you in the next one. Bye!